Uh, Back at it on a Saturday. It's cold outside. It's gonna be cloudy mostly today. Don't think there's gonna have any rain, so got some errands to run, so I figured I'd come out here and do a real quick video and then hit the road. So in the unboxing, you got to see what's in the box, and you've seen the things that goes on the model. So now uh, what I've done is I went and I did the scrubbing bubbles thing. I've also taken the time and I've primered. You see you see me? There you go. We primered it. It's primered in black, and I'll tell you why. Is because it's going to be like underneath the car, and by doing it black, cars would have generally got dirty, and also they've been painted black if it was undercoated. So that's why I went with black. The top, I'll do a light gray later on, and that's what helps the paint adhere to the plastic. If you didn't do it, it might stick, but chances are it just rolls right off. So the primers are a good way to do that. So now I've got these parts on here. We've got our instructions. Just fell on the floor. Here they are. Got our instructions, and we're going to go to that, and we'll slowly be following the direction of the lawn and taking the parts off. But I thought what I'd do in this session is talk to you about what tools I use in doing this. And in the olden days, you used to just take the part and bend it until it broke off. But I tell you, some of these parts are so small that it's hard to do that. So what you get is a pair of these nippers. See those? Now these aren't terribly expensive. They're not cheap. The good ones aren't. This is probably about, maybe $15 or so. So you can get cheaper ones. Some people actually use nail clippers. So, you don't have to, but what I find out, if you look real close, these get real close into the part. You can get right up next to it. But even still, it doesn't take all the plastic off the part. And for that, you're going to need a couple other things. You can use or not. It's up to you. But I've got these files. If you look close, one's flat. See it? That's kind of flat. And then this one's round. It's got a point on it, if you can see the point. And this will down, you can get into the curves and grooves and flatten everything out, and that helps the parts to adhere better. Now another thing you'll want in your tool kit is a couple X-Acto knives. This one here is kind of bigger. You can use it for shaving. And then this one's got a really sharp point on it. And see if I can get it in the light. Yeah, see, this one's got a real sharp point on it. That's good for if you got to make a little hole or something. Now I mentioned before how parts are really tiny, and some of them I got my magnifying light glass here so I can look real close at it. It's good for when I'm doing my little minis, but it's also good for seeing the part. Make sure you got it orientated right. Make sure that it's smooth. Sometimes there's a little bit of plastic left over, so you want to smooth that off. So in order to hold the little ones, I have tweezers. Now this is a small tweezer. Look at that joker. Look how tiny that is. And then you can grab onto it. But you see how tiny it is? It's also very flexible. And I find that when I'm holding it apart, sometimes it rolls. I'll do it and it'll kind of flip around. So it's like, that's not useful all the time. So for that, I got a pair of tweezers. These are a little bit wider, a little bit thicker. This will hold on to the part, but the drawback is it's bigger, so it's a little more tougher to get in. And then if you look at these two different ones. Here's where I squeeze them, and as long as I'm squeezing, it stays together. When I let it go, typical tweezer. Here's the opposite of it. As I squeeze it to keep it open, then when I let go, it closes, open, close. This is good for holding parts where I don't have to, and I can slide it in, and then I can manipulate around. So I've got like 3 different tweezers that I use, and that's kind of it for the tools. For the most part, I've got a little drawer down here, and I've got tiny little pair of pliers. You see that? Sometimes I have to move things around. If the file gets dirty, when it gets clogged up with plastic, I got a little brush, and I can brush that and clean it up. So there's a couple other tools, but those other ones are pretty basic what I use. So now that I got the part off, and this thing's called a sprue. It's called a sprue. The parts are on the sprue. The sprue is this part right here. It's what the plastic goes down and fills in the gap, and that becomes the part. Here's the Dodge's radiator. This has all just been primered. This is not the color that it's going to be painted in. That's the primer. So I've got that all done. I got my tools all set. Now I got to get my glue. Now here's the thing. Back in the old days, back in my days, we had Tester's glue, and it came in a little metal tube. It had a white cap. It was orange, and it had a white cap, and you undo it, and you squished it. And sometimes you get a lot of glue, sometimes not a glue, and then as you get down rolling it up, it'd crack, and you get glue all over your fingers and that. We've come a long ways. We've got different glues now. And here's one. This is by a company called Tamiya. Now this one's it's extra thin and it's extra fast. And it's too fast for me. By the time I get it on there and I get the part and I get it all set, it's dried. So I would have used this. The other drawback to this stuff is, if you look how little that thing is. You can barely see it. And the problem with that is it's so thin, so small, I can't get it to work. So I got this. I thought it'd be kind of nice, but not really. So that sits in the back over here. Now, you remember I was talking about that old glue, the Testers? This is the deal now. This is the same glue that it was in before. Notice the orange, and it's got the white top and all that. But it comes in a jar, and there's so much more of it. This is my go-to stuff. But if you look, remember I was telling you how to use pliers? Look how big that brush is. This is bigger than the part. And when you do that brush, it just swings off. No good. So what I did was I went and got this bottle. Check this bottle out. Now what's good about this is it's got like a needle point on it. Now I can get just a little bit. I can put it right where I want it to go. I can fill the bottle up. I can see how much is in it. And this stays for a long time. Plus, look, it's got a little thing that goes right into the tube, if I can get my shaking to stop, and that keeps the tip clean. So that's a good thing to have, and that's really good. This is used just for the plastic. That's all this is good for, just putting the plastic together. But now here's the thing. Now a lot of these models now, they put metal parts on it. And it's used like lasers, and it's photo etched, and it's really, really tiny, and it's really good. But the problem is it's honest to goodness metal, and metal doesn't stick to plastic with that glue. So we use super glue. It's a different brand, but this one's really good. It's slow to dry, and it's a gel, so I can move the part around, get it to where I was set, and then I can just leave it be. And it works really, really good for holding metal parts onto plastic. This particular model doesn't have any metal on it like that, but most of the other models I do have it on there, and that's a whole different process. So, but that's the glue. Now, I mentioned how you get glue all over your fingers. Well, when you're trying to do the windshields and the glass that goes into the cars and planes and tanks and stuff, you get that glue on it, it gets on the plastic, makes a mess. You're not going to believe what you used to do that. That's right, Elmer's glue, the good old stuff. What's interesting about this is that it dries clear. So when you put it on the windshield, along the edge of the windshield, it'll hold it. There's not a lot of force going on, and then it dries clear. And if you're careful, any extra in it, you can use your really sharp X-Acto and kind of cut along and peel it off. So that's another way to put windshields on. I did it just recently. It worked great, and I'm very happy with that. So that's the 3 different types of glue to use. You use the modeler's glue, you use super glue, or just good old-fashioned Elmer's glue. So that's it for this setup. That's kind of the basics that you need. to put a model, plastic model together. Okay, so that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to get starting assembly and getting to go. But this is the tools we're going to be using, and the next time we see you, we'll show you how it works. Take it easy.